Thank you to the EA Creator Network for making this video possible. What's the dope pickles? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. I'm Kia Sims, and today we are looking at the brand new Enchanted by Nature pack. For those of you who don't know, The Sims released a brand new pack on July 10th called Enchanted by Nature, and it's a pack that introduces new skills like natural living and apothecary work, but also a brand new world and probably the most anticipated new addition, a new occult, fairies. And you can probably tell by the screen, but this is actually footage from my live where we were checking out some early access Enchanted by Nature features a few days before the pack dropped thanks to the EA Creator Network. But we spent somewhere around 14 hours in total playing with this new pack, and this video is going to be me attempting to summarize all of my thoughts and first impressions from what we saw. And so the first thing, of course, was Cass, which I won't lie, it wasn't my favorite. I did love the hairs, especially some of the male hairs. They were really impressive to me. I think they got like a new mullet and another short hair that I was a really big fan of. But the clothing itself was really iffy for me. There was definitely some cute pieces. I feel like we definitely stepped out and did a little bit more for the male Sims this time around, which is fine because they've definitely been needing some new pieces. But I remember audibly gasping when I saw that the female Sims only got 5 new tops. Like we've literally gotten more than that in kits, let alone a $40 pack. But I do want to emphasize that it wasn't the worst cast I've ever seen. It was just a little underwhelming in my opinion. I did love the new infant and toddler clothes though. Those were adorable. The children's clothing just felt a little less whimsy to me. I was also a fan of the new tattoos we got. I thought they were really cute and mythical. And of course, the brand new wings for fairies. Okay, they were gorgeous. I was not expecting the Sims team to give us so many options. Plus, you have even more options when you remember that we can use the paint tool on them. But there were so many sizes and colors and wing variants, which I really appreciated because not everyone wants their fairies to be all cutesy and dainty and, la la la, Like some people might want to make some darker fairies with a more mischievous fae vibe, or completely make up their own lore for their fairies in game. And I feel like having a ton of options like this definitely leaves room for that. Afterwards, we went ahead and made a fairy to play with, okay? Chat yelled at me quite literally the entire time because they said I was taking too long, but we eventually got into the game, okay? Don't let them tell you otherwise. And honestly, the new world of Innisgreen looked amazing. The trailer made the world seem like it was going to be a Windenburg dupe, but after actually loading in and taking a look around, especially in the Everdo area, aka the main fairy neighborhood, it looked absolutely beautiful. The world was so lush, it felt so full. Really my only complaint after playing for a while was that I wish there was more community lots instead of residential lots in the world, but that's literally not a big deal at all. The gallery is always available and I could always just grab some builds from there and replace whatever lots I want. After I got done chasing some fairies down, I went ahead and looked at the new fairy ability tree, which if you don't know what that is, it's a tree we typically get whenever a new occult gets introduced, and it lets you choose specific powers that your Sims can have depending on what kind of occult they are. And the tree for fairies looked super cool, okay? It had 4 distinct tracks you could go down, including manipulation, emotion, nurture, and customization, and I loved it because each of the tracks can really help you distinguish your fairy's personality better. For example, if you were making that mischievous, troublemaking fairy, you could have them spend their ability points on the manipulation track that has perks like letting them cast cures or ailments on other Sims. On the other hand, if you want to make that nature-loving, friend-of-the-world fairy, you can have them lean into the nature ability so that they can give plants extra perks. Even the customization track goes down to individual personality choice, like whether your Sim gains benefits from doing mean interactions or nice interactions. Overall, I really did like the fairy powers, okay? I feel like the fairy powers were a 10 out of 10, not to mention all of the other little benefits and interactions that are available to fairies by default. Then we got into build mode, and I was pleasantly satisfied with the items we got in here. I saw some people were a little upset with the amount of furniture we got. They thought it was a little, not as much as we've gotten in the past, but I actually think we got quite a few items. And not only did I really like the woodland vibe that the furniture gave off, but I could also see a lot of furniture that could be used outside of the fairy context. Like a lot of the plumbing stuff to me looked really good for like rags to riches without necessarily giving a rundown or shabby feeling. I did forget to go into build mode during this stream, but I have looked at it since in my own free time, and I was also very impressed with build mode. I'm not sure how much of the items I would personally use, just because it does have that fairy vibe, especially like the doors and windows and whatnot, but a lot of the like wallpapers and everything I thought were beautiful, and so I was a fan of those. I once again started exploring around the world a little bit. We met Mother Nature and Spruce Almighty, who was super fine. But anyways, I really got to take in how much lore they put into like the new world and pack, which was definitely appreciated. I don't usually like care for too much of the Sims lore because I find that I usually make my own, but I did like this like journey of finding out, you know, the origins of like fairies and Mother Nature and Spruce and plant sims and everything. Not only does Mother Nature and Spruce give you their own separate retellings of, I guess, the backstory, but a lot of the information can also be discovered by interacting with the world itself, which came as a pleasant surprise to me. Like there were genuinely times where I would just be clicking on stuff like, what's this? And I would end up like with a little pop-up that was telling me like, oh, this is this and this derived from this, which was really cool. So yeah, a lot of the information can be discovered by interacting with the world, like going into the little mushroom rabbit hole and snooping through documents, talking to the townies and acquiring fables, etc. I also don't think I got to explore it much during this stream, but in my own time, since I've started playing with this little fairy family, I've been having a lot of fun with the luck and imbalance systems, which I didn't touch on much during the stream itself. It's kind of hard to showcase because it happens at random times, like when your sims are like foraging or doing random interactions. But there was one point when I had my sim forage on the ground, and because she was having a lucky day, she dug up like a 1200 simoleon couch, which I loved because it was a rags to riches. I was like, come on, money. And vice versa, you know, she also ended up getting a really nasty 3-day ailment on one of her imbalanced and bad luck days. And so that is a system that even outside of the context of fairies, I am very excited to have in my game, is bringing back that chaotic feel of like The Sims, which I'm personally a fan of, okay? Another system I didn't get to touch much on in stream, which I tried to, but it was kind of bugged for me, is the new career, specifically seeing clients at home, which is a new feature introduced in the Nature Path career. And this didn't work, not because of like some game breaking glitch, but because we didn't have a door. We didn't have a door or any structure on our lot. Like, I had my girl get to level 2 or 3 of the career, and when she got the call that it was time for work, I had her like click to accept clients at home, and it gave me a little pop-up indicator telling me that my client would arrive at the door in any moment to like look around the front door, but your girl didn't have a door, and so it kind of bugged out for me. But I did end up getting her one off stream, and then the career worked just fine. Once we had a door, I did in fact get a client knocked on it, and I was able to treat her and everything. My only note on this, and it might not be a problem for everybody, but like the apothecary, the Nature Path career is not very lucrative money-wise. Like, I had my client show up, and I figured out what medicine she needed. You know, it cost like 40 simoleons to get the ingredients that we would need to finish making it. And then for payment, we only ended up getting like 80 simoleons. So it's definitely not the career that's going to get your sims out of the hood, but maybe it gets cheaper and more rewarding the higher in the career you are. Y'all also know I had to take a look at the new fairy woohoo in the sky animation, which I really liked. Y'all know we had to use Dawn Lothario to try it out. Okay, easiest sim, easiest sim. And so overall, I really did have a good time with this pack. I think those of you who have been anticipating fairies or are occult players by default are really going to enjoy it. I think the luck and balance systems are going to be really fun for everyone, even non-occult players, and really add some unexpectedness to people's game, which is a plus in my eyes. And if I had to rate every aspect of this pack so far, I'd give Cass a 5 out of 10, the build buy a 7 out of 10, the fairies and variabilities an 8 out of 10, and the world a 10 out of 10. Again, the pack is still really new, so I do have like that initial excitement and everything towards it. So maybe down the line my rating might change as I get more and more used to like all of the features. But as for the overarching question of do I think this expansion pack is worth $40, I'm gonna say no. Okay, $40 is a lot in this economy. Unless you're like an avid occult player or an avid fairy lover, I would definitely wait and try to take advantage of a sale. But again, that's just my opinion, okay? It literally means nothing. But there were so many additional features that we didn't get to cover in this video, just for the sake of making this video relatively short and sweet. I do have separate video footage of actually playing with our fairy here and taking advantage of the natural living skill and apothecary skill and seeing how the pack meshes with other packs in terms of cross-pack compatibility. So it might be a giving mini-series, but we'll see. But that's it for me, okay? I want to thank the EA Creator Network again for allowing me early access to this pack, and if you are considering purchasing, you can use my EA Creator code, which is KiaSims. It won't give you a discount or anything, but it will give me a 5% commission, so I'd really appreciate it. But that is it, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys!